So I'm just continuing to double crochet, and I'm always going for that loop that's towards the top of my chain. I'm about to do my last double crochet on this row, looping over once. There's my chain stitch that I'm going to stick it through, sticking it through, grabbing another loop of yarn, pulling that loop through, grabbing another loop of yarn, pulling it through two, pulling it through two. There's my first row. We made a row of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, because our chain stitches count as a stitch. Let's go back to make 2 chain stitches. 1 chain stitch, 2 chain stitch. And now here comes the turn. Flip. Okay, so before we were crocheting into that chain stitch, and we were just grabbing the 1 loop. Now that we've crocheted a whole row, we're going to start crocheting into the stitches that we've made. When you crochet into a row of stitches, you're going to always look for this little V here. I'm going to stick this through so you can see. You're going to be poking your hook through both of those, not just one. We're looking at this V and we're getting ready to double crochet, turn and double crochet back over this row. So we're going to wrap around the yarn once. These first 2 chain stitches count as the first stitch. We're going to imagine that those first 2 stitches are in this loop, because that really is where that would be. We're going to wrap around once, poke through both of those loops there, going underneath the little V, grabbing a loop, pulling it through. Here comes a double crochet, 1 crochet, 2 crochet. Again, wrapping around the loop, poking it through both stitches. Continuing to double crochet into those stitches that we made. Pulling it through once, pulling it through twice. Alright, we finished 2 rows of double crochets. They look great. I'm just going to crank through these last 2 here. I mean, the important thing to remember, making 2 chain stitches here, turning, and I'm going to start double crocheting back. The important thing to remember when you're learning to crochet is just to take it slow, keep trying to change the position of your hands until you really find something that's comfortable for you. Everyone does it different, and as you can see, you get really fast at it. You can probably hardly see what I'm doing with my hands. But just don't get intimidated. And also patterns can be really intimidating. At first you look at the patterns and they're just a bunch of abbreviated letters and you have no idea what they mean. Just take them one step at a time. It's just like cooking, you know, it's reading directions. That's really all it is. And trusting that the pattern's going to work too. Sometimes it doesn't make sense until it's done. And you look down and you go, oh my gosh, I just made something. So here we are. We're almost done with our square. Need one more. Okay, and finishing off, there we are. A little sloppy in there, but you know. At the very end of your square, you're going to pull through one last loop, one last chain, pull it real tight, grab your scissors that you only use for yarn and fabric, cut that off, and then pull this tail out. Okay, so if you really wanted this to be tidy, this is where your plastic needle would come in handy. I would thread this on the needle and just work this back in here a little bit and hide that end of yarn. If you really just wanted a very tidy square, you'll most likely be, you know, stitching this together with something else. Maybe I could take these two squares and I would stitch them together. That's how Afghans are made. It's a bunch of different squares just stitched together. Thanks for joining me and learning how to crochet a square. I hope you have a great time with it, and I hope that crocheting becomes something creative and meaningful for you as it has for me. I think it's great, fun, relaxing, and enjoy.